The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Tampa. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, we got two great experts on with you today, and one of my favorite shows is our wealth management. So we're just waiting on our guest to come on. I'm actually in the middle of sending him another email. We're going to wait for Ray Ferrara, who has been with us for several years. We get so many compliments on this show. So I'm so glad that we have him today. I'll just leave it up to our great producer, Rebel, just to bring him on as soon as he comes on with us. He had just emailed me, Rebel, that he still hadn't gotten the link, so I just resent it to him again, and we'll get him on. Hey, if you're tuning in for the first time, Ask the Experts have been around for 12 years. We have been doing this show for such a long time, and we have had the greatest experts come on our show. This is not an info commercial. We actually educate you in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Today's show, we're going to be doing wealth management for the first half of the show. And the second half of the show, we're going to be doing personal injury. So if you've ever been in an automobile accident, if you've been in a slip and fall predicament where you've had injuries, you do not want to miss our second show. There is so much going on in the world of finances. And I got to tell you, Ray Ferrara with Provise Wealth Management just really explains it so well. And, you know, if you're not happy with your wealth management or your finance, there he is, your financial advisor. I got to tell you, you should really give Ray a shot, because I am telling you, we get so much great feedback, even from some of his competitors who listen to the show. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Steve, and sorry for the problem catching in on the link this morning.
Never, ever a problem. I knew you were going to be coming on. Last night I was watching the NBA All-Star game, and it is just so amazing how much money these guys make now. I mean, so when they get fined $50,000, that's nothing to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how much of a game it was when the score is 200 and something to 180 something, but it was an interesting evening for sure. And you're right; they do make a lot of money, and by comparison to most of us, by comparison to a lot of us, but it is amazing their athletic talent.
Well, Ray, as we always do for each show, we tell everybody about Provise Wealth Management. Tell people about your company and who you are.
Sure. Provise Management Group, Steve, is a financial planning firm first and foremost. We have offices in Clearwater and Tampa, Florida. We've got 14 certified financial planner professionals that are part of our team, backed up by a wonderful staff of about 16 folks. We're serving about 1,100 families scattered over 34 states and managing somewhere right around $1.9 billion. And as you know, and the listeners that have been part of the show for a long time know, we see financial planning as the top of the pyramid, and everything is a subset underneath of that, whether it's investment management, education planning, legacy planning, retirement planning, all of those, insurance planning, asset protection. Those are all subsets of the financial plan. And if you don't have a written financial plan, it doesn't mean you can't be successful. But with a financial plan, we think your odds of having a successful outcome for any of your financial goals is greatly enhanced. So, and as you know, we always offer a 1-hour free consultation to those who would like to visit with us in either our Tampa or Clearwater office. And if neither of those offices are convenient, if you happen to be outside of the Tampa Bay area, you can always visit with us for an hour by Zoom. So we welcome those phone calls with the number scrolling across the bottom, which is 800-633-3049, 800-633-3049.
You know, last week, Ray, I don't know what it was about last week's show, but I received something from iHeart that I have never received before on any of our shows, congratulating us on the amount of people who were listening last week. I don't know what it was. It was definitely your show because yours is the first show. But gosh, in the 2 years that we have been working with iHeart, I've never on any of our shows. So I don't know what it was about last week's show, but we had a heck of an audience. And I think people are learning how the way you present financial planning, Ray, really attracts a lot of people. And I really think that's the reason why you have so many clients around the world.
Well, not around the world, but around the United States for sure. I'll say we're a large national firm, but international is not the right word for us today. Maybe someday. But you know, we're blessed. We have wonderful clients built up over our 30 almost 35-year history of helping people at a fiduciary standard of care, having to give everything in the best interest of the client, which unfortunately many, and in some cases, I might even say most financial planners do not have to do. So as a result of our having, as I have often said, there's no wrong time to do the right thing, Steve. And when you do the right thing each and every time for a client, it helps build tremendous referral base from clients, from other professionals. And it's nice to know that from what you said earlier in the show, that some of the competition are paying attention to what we're doing. I guess imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Absolutely. Hey, Ray, what happened at the beginning of this week that caused the market to drop so severely?
Well, I think the biggest issue was the news on inflation. And at best, it was mixed news, although initially it was seen as negative news. The month-over-month increase in inflation was significantly higher than what had been anticipated, although the annual increase kind of was pretty much in line. And that kind of, the annual figure smooths out the things from month to month. And as a result of those higher inflation numbers, investors felt that the interest rate that they were looking to have go down, many of them even in March, which we always saw and still believe is a fantasy, was not going to happen. At this point, it would seem that June seems to be the earliest that they might do something. One data point like what we got for January should not worry investors. One data point does not make a trend, but it is a data point that has to be considered. The difficult balance for the Federal Reserve for investors coming up is that they can't wait. If they're going to reduce interest rates, they can't wait to too late in the year, because if they do, the closer it gets to the presidential election in November, the more likely that there are people to be concerned that the Fed decided to play politics. And who they favor, I guess it depends on who your candidate is, that you probably think the other person got the benefit of it. So they're in a tricky balance to do something. June, we think at the earliest, outside chance of May, maybe even a better chance at the July or early August meeting. So that's what happened. Markets recovered pretty well, although they did push down for the week, but just a little bit, not nearly the drop that they sustained on Monday.
Right. I was wondering, how do you feel about people having an annuity as part of their investments when they are retired?
There's a huge debate, Steve, about folks having annuities, using annuities. And used in the right place, annuities can be a tremendous tool. The problem is that too many people are selling annuities to everybody they meet, as if it's every woman who is fitting into a size 6 dress, or every man is going to fit into a size 40 suit. They're not planning for the individual. They're selling products, and they're making a commission, and they're are not fully disclosing the issues that exist around annuities. We are not fans of any annuity that carry surrender charges in a commission world that go for a longer than a 5-year period of time. And many of these so-called indexed annuities, index fixed annuities, they can have surrender charges that can last into double-digit years. And the longer the surrender charge, the bigger the commission. And people should, if you're going to buy a product from someone who's making a commission, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But the person should disclose exactly what they make and should explain what all of the issues are. We see annuities being used primarily to help people with income, not with accumulation of money. And to create an income flow in retirement that's guaranteed based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company, to provide that steady income flow that won't change from month to month, year to year, much different than if you're simply withdrawing from the stock market. Today, many financial planners are able to offer annuities at an extremely low cost. And so anybody who is thinking about buying an annuity, get a second opinion, get all of the facts, learn everything that there is, and then move forward. But just because somebody on TV tells you that you need an annuity, or even here on our radio show, if somebody is, quote, selling annuities, get a second opinion, because once you put your money into an annuity, it's there for a long time. And so you need to understand those ramifications. And we certainly try to provide all of that at Provise. And again, anybody who would like to have that second opinion, we do offer a 1-hour free consultation in our offices in Clearwater or Tampa, or by Zoom at the prospective client's convenience.
Ray, sometimes I feel like this show is like the old American Express commercial. I think it's American Express, where a person gets ready to give financial advice, and then everybody stops what they're doing and listens. I think, was that the American Express
No, that
commercial?
wasn't American Express. I think it goes back to the '80s, is where that commercial came from, and I think it was E.F. Hutton, which doesn't exist
Yes,
anymore.
Hutton.
And the tagline was, "When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen." Well, we like to
That's
think
what it was.
we can replace the E.F. Hutton with Provise Management.
So, if you could give one piece of advice about financial planning, what would it be?
The single best piece of advice that I can give, I'm going to have to break it into two parts. I can't give just one. The first thing is, accept the fact that success is enhanced by having a written financial plan. Just like when a lawyer goes into court or a doctor goes into the operating room, they don't go in and just start, talking to the judge or start cutting. They have a plan, because they know that if they have a plan, the odds of the operation, the odds of winning the trial are enhanced by having a plan. The same is true in in a financial world. And so in concert with that, the question then becomes, who helps you do the financial plan? And we strongly recommend that you work with a certified financial planner, CFP, somebody who has passed a rigorous exam, gone through, has continuing education requirements, who must work at a fiduciary standard of care when providing financial advice, to work with you, to know that you're getting the most competent and most ethical advice, in my opinion, that I think you can receive anywhere. So that's the one piece of advice: do a written financial plan and have it written by a certified financial planner, a CFP. And if anybody doesn't know how to find one, you can go to cfp.org, and they have a find a planner search there, and you can look it up by zip code in your local area.
What should people look for?
So I think the most important thing is to find a certified financial planner that has a good table side manner. Much like we want a doctor with a good bedside manner, or a lawyer with a good courtroom manner, you need to find that CFP professional that has a good table side manner. Somebody who takes the time to explain the things that you are being recommended to do to the level of depth that you need. And everybody is different. I'm very much a bottom line person. Don't confuse me with the facts. Just give me the bottom line. But then there are those engineers and accountants and others who want to have all of the, read all of the fine print, and we have to do that. If somebody says, "Now I know what's best for you, just follow my advice," I'd turn around and walk out the door, because you need to have a complete and full disclosure of the actions that you're going to take, of the products that you're going to use, and don't let someone be demeaning by simply saying, "Now let me pat you on the head and say I know what's best for you," because that's simply totally inappropriate in a professional world.
Yeah, it's Ray. I learned a long time ago. We've talked about that I was a sports agent, and I think the smartest thing I ever did was not ever getting involved in my players' finances. And I would always tell them to go to a large company, reputable company. That didn't always happen, and it's so important that you can trust the person who's advising you on your money. And it's you, Ray, have got such a wonderful, I'll just call it a bedside manner. The way you explain things, it really, even intricate things, you simplify it. It's just so easy to understand. And I think that's like one of the most important things in your business, is getting people to understand
Well, it's a function of providing, as I said, the level of knowledge that each individual wants and needs in order to understand the steps that they're taking. It amazes us that when people do come to us, having been with other so-called financial planners, and they say, "Well, gosh, they never explained that to me. I would have never done that if I had understood that." And when you're not dealing with people with their best interest in mind, only your own, that's the way people are going to hide things. And so again, I don't care who you are with, get as much disclosure as you possibly can, as much explanation as you possibly can. And as I said, if your financial planner is working in a commission world, nothing wrong with that. But you need to understand what the implications of that are in terms of any surrender charges. How much did they actually make? When you work with our firm, we have 96, 97% of our income comes from fees. It's fully disclosed. When we do happen to offer a commission product, generally being term insurance or long-term care insurance, we always disclose what the commission is and why we selected the particular product and the particular company that we chose, because we want our clients to understand that we were finding the best product that we could find available, not the one that was paying us the highest commission.
Ray, we've got still have less than 2 minutes. Tell people why they should retain your services.
Well, Stephen, first of all, as I said earlier, the fact that we have 14 certified financial planners at our firm, we all work as a team together along with one of our staff people on every client. So there is total backup. The one time that you want to have that important question answered and I'm away, that there's somebody else there that's just as intimately involved in your situation as I might be. So you've got that assurance that you're working with a firm that is big enough to provide all of the support that you need, but is small enough to still be able to do everything on an individualized basis. We have a very low professional to client ratio that varies around about 100 people per CFP professional. And we try to keep that ratio low in order to provide the right amount of help. If somebody's dealing with a couple hundred clients, and I've heard some that have 400 or 500 clients, they don't have 400 or 500 clients. They've got 400 or 500 files, but they're not really clients. And again, working at a fiduciary standard of care, always working in your best interests, is a key for you with anybody that we feel that you work with. You want to ask them if they must work at a fiduciary standard of care.
Ray, give everybody your phone number as well as your website.
Steve, anybody who would like to have a 1-hour complimentary consultation, simply call us at 1-800-633-3049, 1-800-633-3049. Ask for me, and I will respond promptly. If you would like to learn more about us first, go to our website, which is Provise, PROVISE.com, Provise.com. And you can get a great overview on just who we are and what we do. And again, take advantage of that 1-hour complimentary consultation.
And you know what else, Ray? I love your newsletter you send out.
Well, thank you. And folks can sign up for that right there at our website. We call it the Provise Perspectives. It goes out on the 1st and the 15th of every month, highlighting financial planning ideas, tax law changes, lots of interesting information relative to investing. And it's complimentary. We've got now somewhere close to 6,000 people across the country who get it twice a month, and happy to have anybody who would like to get a complimentary copy of it.
Ray, thank you so much. Ray will be back again with us next month with more Ask the Experts. Ray, thank you so much, and have a wonderful week.
Steve, I intend to, and thank you so much for this morning.
We love having you.
Take care.
That's Ray Ferrara with Provise. We're going to go to break, and we come back. We've got our wonderful personal injury attorneys. We'll be right back.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. I got to tell you that our next show is an area injury that I got to tell you, I have never seen. I don't know what is going on out there with drivers out there, but I have never seen so many traffic accidents. I don't know. It just seems like it's more than ever before. And, you know, when you're injured, one of the things you should never do is try to handle the case yourself. It's so important that you get not just representation, legal representation, but actually one of the finest legal representations. Let me introduce you to our great personal injury attorneys, Lauren and Angela.
Good morning.
Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
You know, I was just saying just now, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm noticing it more, but the amount of auto accidents going on out there, and it's, God, I've noticed that people are just such a rush and driving like maniacs. And it's so important that, God forbid, if you are in an auto accident, that you have really good representation. And I was thinking about you all yesterday. I saw a TV commercial, and it's really funny because it's a Florida law firm that handles accidents. And I was reading in Yelp, and people complaining that they never even got to really talk to the attorney like they do with your firm. If they call your firm, one of you two are going to talk to them. And that's just like, to me, a feel-good feeling, knowing that the attorney who's going to be representing me is right there, right away up front.
Well, that's true, Steve. I think the bigger law firms, and when I say bigger, I mean the really, really big ones. And there's several of them out there. They just don't have, quite honestly, the manpower or the ability to be able to speak with all of their clients. They have what's called a case manager. They have legal secretaries. They may have a paralegal, and the paralegal may have an assistant. And those people are the ones that usually do the communicating with the clients, and it's usually by email. So we've actually had clients, countless clients, that have told us, I don't even know who my attorney is, because they get bounced around, transferred within these big firms. And so you just become a file number in those situations. I really think that the whole bigger is better, or the biggest this, or we're the best, we're the biggest. I think really that's very deceiving to clients, because they think that, well, I'm going to go with the biggest law firm or one of the biggest law firms or whoever it is, and I'm going to be in the best hands. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't be in good hands. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just going to say that they just you just don't get the same level of attention as you do when you go with more of a boutique law firm. And there's a lot of phenomenal lawyers out there that do speak with their clients and do have the knowledge base and the courtroom experience to do an incredible job.
Well, I love the fact that that's all you do is personal injury, because, you know, there's a lot of firms out there that on their shingle, it's got bankruptcy, criminal law. I mean, it's got a whole list where you just concentrate in one area.
And that's all we've been doing, Steve, for decades. I think combined, Angela and I have close to 50 years of experience just handling personal injury law. It's a niche, and people get out of law school, they graduate law school, they take the bar, they pass the bar, and they think, oh, I'll do personal injury. That seems easy enough, right? Especially a rear end collision. You just got to prove that the guy rear ended you or the woman rear ended you, and you have some injuries and you get money. It's like easy money. Personal injury, if done right, is so far from easy, Steve. It
Yes.
it really takes someone dedicated to knowing the ins and outs, especially with the new House bill that went into effect 837 March 24th. It's changed the course of personal injury. Angela and I read all the medical records that come in on our clients. We get all prior medical records for our clients. We make sure that they didn't have the same complaints 5 years ago that they had today and were complaining, of the same complaints right before the accident. We make sure we're able to differentiate prior injuries or at a minimum prove that it's an exacerbation of a pre-existing injury or that it's totally, new caused by the accident. There's so much that goes into properly handling a personal injury claim and preparing it for trial. A lot of firms don't prepare like Angela and I do from the onset of the case. From the day it comes in, we prepare it as if it's going to trial. And I think that besides meeting with every client, that's one of the things that sets us apart from other firms.
The point that I really wanted to get across was you see some of these big ads on TV, and I got to tell you that doesn't make them the best law firm. And I want to say this because I've been in this business for a long time. I grew up in the Yellow Page days, and we've talked about this before, and people would actually select an attorney that had a full page ad. And folks, that's just not the way to do it, or who has the most TV spots. So what we offer you on this show is we bring you a way to educate you, but most importantly, that you don't have to go and see who's got the nicest website or has the biggest TV ads. You want someone who's going to represent you to the fullest. And that's why I feel so comfortable with your firm that when a person contacts you, that they are going to get your full attention.
Yeah, Steve, that's so true. I think that the people who are looking for an attorney, no matter what area of the law it is, you're looking for an attorney because there's a problem, you have an issue, and you need help. And it's usually not a good thing that you're needing an attorney, whether it's for a divorce, a criminal matter, a real estate landlord matter, tenant, personal injury matter. There needs to be an interview process. People need to go and interview the attorneys. And, back in the day, I remember the Yellow Pages too. And, there was no internet. Now there's an internet. You can actually look up the attorney. You can look to see what their reviews are from clients. It's so important to get reviews from other people and, get to read those. Look at the experience. Let's see if the attorney's website talks about their trials, what their verdicts were. But you shouldn't just pick one because you see them all the time somewhere, or they're a big firm. You've got to find out who in that firm is going to be your lawyer. I mean, your case is, if you go to one of those big law firms, your case is just assigned to somebody. You don't have a say. You don't get to call and go, I want him. In our office, you do. So there's just there's so much that goes into choosing a right attorney. And, the personality needs to be right. You've got to be able to, feel comfortable talking to your attorney. Some people have issues that are uncomfortable for them. They're embarrassed by them, and they need to have a rapport. So there's so much that goes into it. People just need to take the time to interview and do the research.
Yes, absolutely. What don't juries know about defense attorneys like yourself when it comes to car accident trials?
We're not defense attorneys. We're plaintiff's attorneys. But what they don't know about defense attorneys, they are hired by the insurance company that the person that hit you pays premiums. So if someone hits you, Steve,
Lauren, we can't hear you. Can we hear you? Steve, can you hear her?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I hear an echo. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And I apologize. I didn't mean the defense. You're not the defense attorneys.
That's okay. That's okay. Allstate will pay a lawyer to represent me if I've hit you in a car accident, and they will provide the defense at trial. But it's kind of a conflict if you think about it, because they're supposed to have my best interest in hand because they represent me, but they're being paid by the insurance company, and they want more clients or more referrals from the insurance company. And it's kind of a conflict because they put the insurance company interest above, sometimes, I'm not saying all defense attorneys, but sometimes above the client's interest. They don't settle the case that should be settled. They will take it to trial and possibly expose the insured to an excess verdict, meaning that anything over the policy premiums, the insured has to pay out of his pocket. So, when the insurance company is going, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, go fight this, the verdict, and the insured is saying, wait a minute, do I have any risks here? What happens if we go to verdict and the verdict is more than the premium? Well, that's a conflict.
Steve, on that note, as a little follow-up, we talk a lot about people who are injured and people who get hurt, and we represent them. But there are times Lauren and I get phone calls from people who are the defendant in a case. And they call us and they say, look, I was at fault. I caused an accident. There's a lawsuit pending against me now. And I have an attorney. My insurance company hired an attorney to represent me, but I'm not comfortable with this guy. I just want this case to settle. I want to be released from it. I don't want to go to trial, but I feel like the insurance company is controlling this and I have no say. And that's 100% true. The insurance company controls it, controls the defense, controls what they're going to pay. And that person who, caused the accident, who was responsible for it, is sitting there going, okay, so if the insurance company fights this and we lose, am I going to owe that money above and beyond? And I tell them, typically, yes, you will. And so for people who are out there who may be in this situation where they are the defendant and they've been sued, I would suggest that you take a little bit of money and you go and you hire an attorney, a personal attorney, and have that attorney communicate with the insurance company attorney and write a letter that says, I'm telling you now that if you don't pay and resolve this case, and I am exposed to an excess verdict or judgment against me because you didn't want to settle, big insurance company, I'm coming after you to pay. And so we've advised people that, and we've been successful in helping people do that because, we really don't want to hurt people when we file a lawsuit against them. We've had this discussion about that they have insurance. We know that. We want the insurance company to pay. And if the insurance company doesn't pay within their policy limits and then they get popped at trial by Lauren and I, we don't want the poor guy or the little old lady or the poor guy who's sitting at the defense table to pay it. We want the insurance company to pay it because they're the one that started the whole mess to begin with. So, there's really two sides here, the plaintiff side and the defendant side, that sometimes, they both are not treated fairly by the insurance companies.
We've talked about many times on the show that sometimes people think they can handle their case themselves, whether it's to save some money or that they think they can get just as good a deal. And I learned a long time ago, I don't care how great a negotiator you think you are or a salesperson, that if you don't have a good attorney like yourselves, that you're going up against insurance companies that put out the best of the best. And you will, if you try to handle this yourself, I promise you, you will lose money. I promise you that.
What a lot of people don't realize is that the insurance adjusters are actually taught, Steve. They take seminars, they go to classes, meetings. They're taught to befriend you as the injured person in the accident. They're taught to build a wall of communication and trust with you early on, from when the accident happens, to try and dissuade you from getting an attorney. Oh, the adjuster from State Farm is so nice. I don't need to get an attorney. They promised me they're going to take care of me. They're going to pay my medical bills and they're going to fix my car. And I really don't need to get an attorney because, after all, that attorney is only going to take a percentage of what I get. So why don't I try and avoid that and get more money in my pocket? And we've seen this happen more times than not. They will try and short sell the value of your claim early on and get you to sign a release so that you can't pursue any further claims against them or their insured, no matter how badly your injuries turn out to be. So within the first 2 weeks, if you're in an accident and State Farm offers you 1,500, 2,500, 5,000 to settle, and you settle and sign the release, and a month later you go for MRIs and you find out you have a herniated disc that's hitting the spinal cord and you need surgery, you're done. Your case settled for $5,000.
I don't know if things are still the same way, but about 20 years ago, I went after American Airlines. And for months, I mean, literally months, I would talk to them and say, you know what, if we don't settle this, I'm going to sue you. And I was so frustrated. Nothing ever happened until I hired an attorney. This is what I learned. Until I hired an attorney, they never took me serious. And I had to learn that the hard way. But once I had an attorney, oh my God, things changed so much. I don't know is it still that way?
It is. You were talking earlier when you started the program, and you were saying, there's just so many accidents out there. I don't know what's going on. We are now living in this cell phone age where there's these phones that we have in our hands, this big. There's really just a huge computer, and you've got young drivers out there, looking on their phone, texting while they're driving. You've got drivers now that are delivering for Uber Eats, DoorDash, Publix delivery, all these, Uber drivers. You've got so many different people out there driving for businesses. And then, of course, there's the cell phones. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you're a layperson and you don't get an attorney, okay, you don't know whether or not that person who hit you was on their cell phone. And why is that important? It's important because there are judges out there and jurisdictions that are awarding punitive damages if you're texting on your cell phone. It's illegal in Florida. You're not to be texting. And so, attorneys are able to uncover things like that, and that you would not be able to find out on your own. We're also able to find out if the person who hit you is on a mission to deliver food. I had a case not too long ago where it was a pizza delivery driver, and they took the sign off the back of the top of their car, and they hid it in the back seat. And my client wasn't really sure, didn't know that that person was on the job for a rather large pizza chain. So these are things that attorneys can find out for you that you would never be able to find out on your own.
Wow. Those are two I never even thought about.
Yeah.
And that just shows why it's so important to have real good representation, because There's so many things that we as laymen would never even think about, that you look for all the small details. We only have a few minutes left. I wanted to save this for the end for both of you to answer this. Is why should I hire your firm?
You should hire our firm, Steve, because we care. You should hire our firm because we know your name. You should hire our firm because we have over 50 years combined experience. You should hire our firm because that's all we do is personal injury law. You should hire our firm because we treat you like family. But most importantly, you should hire our firm because we're good at what we do. We get results.
Angela?
Oh, well, I think Lauren covered all that. I think,
Yeah.
Lauren, we're close to 60 years.
Is it?
Well,
Ooh.
I'm going 27 years.
I'm over 30, yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
I know we don't look it, right, Steve?
No, you don't look, but it's so obvious. So,
But we this is our passion, and especially with the new House bill that Lauren was talking about, the landscaping of personal injury has changed so dramatically that all of the laws are in favor of the insurance companies. And it's more important than ever that you have an attorney to explain to you what your rights are in terms of who's going to pay your medical bills, if you're going to owe any money, if there's additional insurance coverage out there, are you entitled to get punitive damages? And you've got to be able to do that with a law firm that is going to be able to litigate. You said it earlier, people can put out a shingle saying they do personal injury, but how many cases have they taken to trial? Are they able to stand up in front of a jury and give a closing argument for 90 minutes? Are they able to stand up and make a legal argument in front of the judge and objections, proffer evidence, and preserve the record? There's so much that goes into a personal injury case, like Lauren said, that, and consulting one is free. It doesn't cost you any money. I think people are out there thinking, well, I don't have the money to go sit down with an attorney. We'll do it for free on the phone, by Zoom, in person. There's no harm to you. Just reach out, and we'll be happy to speak with you. Honored and flattered to be able to speak with you.
I just think it's amazing how much work you do before you realize your first dime. I mean, and you work on performance, basically.
We do.
Yeah.
Let's tell everybody how they can reach you. Let's give them your phone number and your website address.
Phone number is 727-937-3171. And the website address is www.zervosinjurylaw.com. ZERVOS injurylaw.com.
Well, we can always tell what a great interview both of you are, because it goes by so fast. Thank you, both of you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good week.
Thank you. I love their firm. They are, listen, if you are a family member or a friend or in an auto accident or a slip and fall where there's injury, I am telling you, their firm you could not do a better job. That's it for us this week. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Thank you, Rebel.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.